Hi everybody, this is Henry from MathTestAce.com. I'd like to show you a faster way to solve an SAT-style word problem that can take a long time if you don't know the trick to solving it. Most of the time, I encourage people to translate word problems directly into equations, which is something I show you how to do at MathTestAce.com. But this problem is a real beast if you try to solve it that way, so I'm going to show you how to draw a diagram that will help you get to the answer much more easily. Here's the problem. At a basketball camp, 40% of the players are shorter than 6 feet. Of the remaining players, 25% are taller than 6 feet 4 inches. If 54 players are between 6 feet and 6 feet 4 inches, how many players are at the basketball camp? Here, instead of translating directly into an equation, we're going to draw a diagram. Let's break the basketball players into 3 groups. The first group is the basketball players who are shorter than 6 feet. We're going to draw a circle, and we're going to call these the short players. The next group is the players between 6 feet and 6 feet 4 inches. We're going to call these the medium group. And our last group is the players who are taller than 6 feet 4 inches. This we're going to call the tall group. Now we're going to draw what we know about the percentages of the players in each group. The short players are 40% of the total. Let's just draw a little arrow and write 40%. If the short players are 40% of the total, then the medium and tall players together have to be 60% of the total, because if you have a group of people and you're talking about the percentages of people in subgroups, then the percentages have to add up to 100. So 40% of the players are short, 60% are either medium or tall. But we know a little bit more. We know that of these 60%, 25% are taller than 6 feet 4 inches. So let's break this back into 2 groups. We know that 25% of our 60% are taller than 6 feet 4 inches. Which means that 75% of our 60%, because remember they have to add up to 100, are the medium-sized group, the ones who are between 6 feet and 6 feet 4 inches. Now here's a magic word in word problems, and that's of. Of the 60%, 25% are taller than 6 feet 4 inches. Of means multiplied by in word problems. So we need to multiply the 60% by 25% to figure out what percentage of the basketball players are in the tall group. 60% times 25%, you can use a calculator, you can do it out longhand, but you'll find that it's 15%. If you're wondering where I got that, one way you could do it is say 60 times 25 over 100, because 25 over 100 is 25%. We do the same thing over here. 75% times 60% is 45%. And since we already know that the tall players are 15%, it makes sense that it would be 45% for the medium players, because those two percentages have to add up to the 60 that we have right here. So now we know the breakdown of the players in each group. The short players are 40%, the medium players are 45%, and the tall players are 15%. But they give us one more piece of crucial information. and that is that the medium players, who are 45%, have 54 players in the group. So we know that 45% of the total number of players is 54 players. But what we want to know is how many players are there in total, or another way to say that, how many players are 100% of the players. So we set up a ratio. 45% of the players over 54 players is equal to 100% of the players over the total number of players. Let's just call it T for total. We can multiply these terms together by cross multiplication. And if you go to MathTestAce.com, I'll put up an explanation later on about how we're doing this in case you don't know this technique or why we're using ratios here. But if we multiply these, we get 5,400%. That's 54 times 100. Remember, when we cross multiply, we multiply this way, and then we multiply this way. And we put what we get on each side of an equation. So when we cross multiply this way, we get T times 45%. And all we need to do now is divide both sides by 45%. When we do that, and you can use a calculator, 5,400 divided by 40% divided by 45% is 120. And T times 45% divided by 45% is just T. So T is 120 players. That's the number we have at our camp. I hope this helps you get a higher score in the SAT or your next algebra test. If you like this video, check out more at MathTestAce.com and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks.